All right, hey there guys. Today we're going to look at standard form yet again, but we're going to focus mainly on the graphs of standard form. So when we look at a graph, we can always talk about the y-intercept. Remember, the y-intercept is where x is 0. So you would have an ordered pair, x, y, of course, and x will be 0 and y will be some number, okay? So this would be where your y-intercept is. So for example, with this equation, if I want to find the y-intercept, I'm going to substitute a 0 for x. So I would do -2 times 0 plus 3y equals 6. Well, when I multiply anything times 0, that gives me a value of 0. So then all I have to do is divide by 3 on each side. So y has a value of 2. So my y-intercept is located at 0, 2. So if I wanted to graph this equation, I can put a point at 0, 2. On that same y-intercept was 0, we can use the same equation to find the x-intercept. Sometimes they call the x-intercept just a 0. I don't know why, but sometimes it's just called a 0. So remember, for the x-intercept, there will be a number for x, but y will be 0. So when I go to substitute here, this would be -2 x plus 3 times 0 equals 6. So again, 3 times 0 gives us a value of 0. So then I divide by -2. So x has a value of -3. So my y-intercept, my x-intercept is at -3, 0. So of course we can check this using Desmos. So our equation is -2x plus 3y equals 6. So when I go to graph, I go to on Desmos. So I have -2x plus 3y equals 6. There's my line. Remember, you can graph those coordinates. So 0. Oh no, let me try that again. Let me graph that again. I'm sorry about that. So -2x plus 3y equals 6. Okay, so now I'm going to graph my two zeros to see where they land on the line. So I have 0, 2. There's my y-intercept, and I'm going to label it so we can see it. Now let's do the x-intercept, which was -3, 0. And I'll label that guy. So here are my two coordinates. So in this case, this is the y-intercept. Here is my x-intercept. So as you can see here, you can graph those 2 points, connect them, and there you go, you have a line. Try another one. So we're going to graph this guy. So we need to find our x and y-intercepts. So I'm going to start with finding my y-intercept where x is 0, and then we will find the x-intercept where y is 0. So here we go. So 4 times 0 plus y equals 4. So then y equals 4. So my y-intercept is at 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's my y-intercept. So our y-intercept is 0, 4. Now let's do the x-intercept. So I'm going to substitute a 0. I'm going to substitute a 0 for y. So 4x plus 0 equals 4. So then that has no value, so I divide by 4. So x equals 1. So then 1, 0 would be here. So then I can connect that to create my graph. So I think I put those backwards. Let me switch this. So our x-intercept is at 1, 0, while the y-intercept is at 0, 4. I am sorry about that. But see, finding the zeros makes it super easy to graph. Again, if it ever says just a 0, like 1, 0, that's where you will be looking for the x-intercept. All right, here's another one. So let's continue. I'm going to go back to that color there. So we have our ordered pairs here, so we're going to find where the y-intercept is and then where the x-intercept is. So I'm going to start with the y-intercept, so -3 times 0 plus 9y equals 18. So then I divide by 9 on both sides, so y equals 2 for that y-intercept. So here we go, 0, 2. I'm going to do the same thing for the x-intercept, so I have -3x plus 9 times 0 equals 18, dividing by -3 on both sides, so x equals -6. So then my x-intercept is -6, 0. So let's see if we can fit this on the graph. So -6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, it's going to hang off here for that, and then 0, 2 is here. So when I graph this, something like that, of course I was not exactly drawing a straight line there. So here we can, again, find the zeros in order to graph this equation in standard form. All right, so now what we're going to do is talk about converting to standard form. Remember, again, standard form is ax plus by equals c. So that means essentially the x and the y have to be on the same side of the equal sign. In this case, they are not. So I am going to move that x to the other side. So then I have -x plus y equals 6. This is standard form. We went from slope-intercept to standard form. Let's try another one. All right, now this one is in point slope. So let's take it to standard form. The first thing I'm going to do is get rid of those parentheses. So I have y plus 5 equals -x minus 3. I have 5 and -3 on each side, and then I have an x and a y on each side. So that means I need to do a little bit of manipulating. I'm going to start by moving that 5 over. So y equals -x minus 8. I'm going to add x on both sides. So now I have x plus y equals -8. Now we have standard form. Again, that's the ax plus by equals c. One more. All right, again, we have point slope. So again, we have that fraction of 1/2 hanging out front. So I need to get rid of those parentheses. So I have -1/2 x plus 2, because 1/2 times x is -1/2, and half of 4 is 2, and it's a negative times a negative. All right, now I'm going to add 1 on both sides. So I have y minus 1 equals -1/2 x plus 3. Oops, not that minus 1. Sorry about that. Let me get rid of that. Now, I have a little bit of a problem here because I have a fraction. Remember, when we have it in standard form, a, b, and c need to be integers. So that means they need to be positive or negative whole numbers. So that means I'm going to actually multiply the entire thing times 2 in order to eliminate that denominator. So then that leaves me with 2y equals -x plus 6. Now all I have to do is add the x on both sides. So now I have x plus 2y equals 6. And again, that's our standard form. And the first one was point slope.